people, we are back with Girl, Your Brand's a Big Deal podcast, and we have another amazing guest, Dr. Gwennetta Wright. She is a multifaceted woman in business. She is award-winning. She's talented, and she's going to help you get your life right and your money right. So I'm super excited to have you here today. Gwennetta, how are you feeling today? And thank you for coming on the show.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. Thank you for having me.
Please tell the audience a little bit more about who you are and how you support people in the world.
So she introduced me as Dr. Gwennetta Wright. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I operate multiple businesses in different industries, so many different industries. I've been in the business world for 17 years. And ultimately, with all my businesses, even though they're in different industries, my brand values is to inspire, educate, and serve. So ultimately, making sure that whatever business that I have, that I'm absolutely making sure that whoever I'm servicing, they're being educated, and that I'm making sure they're taken care of, not just collecting some money.
Making sure they're being taken care of. So I know one of these businesses is your tax business.
Yes.
And you serve individuals and entrepreneurs. And if we stand on business as we go into 2024, let's talk about the money and some things that we can do. What are some challenges that you see on the entrepreneurial side when it comes to them coming to you for tax support?
Oh my God. So with small business owners, the biggest thing is just knowing their numbers and keeping track of their income and their expenses. That's like the worst. Like, they don't do it. It's very, very rare that they know what their total income is and the amount of money that has been spent out in their business. So that's the biggest challenge, just trying to make sure they understand what that is. And then their tax responsibilities and obligations, because unfortunately, it's not a lot of education around how do you pay your taxes and how much you should be paying in taxes when it comes to entrepreneurs and small business owners.
So that sounds very scary to me, right? I don't want no problems with the IR and the ARA and the S, okay? I don't want no problems with them. So as an entrepreneur, one of our biggest challenges is not knowing our numbers and just not having our finances in order. So what are some of the things that you help them do? What are some of the new habits that we need to begin to have so we can get our life and our finances in order?
So one thing is stop commingling your funds. Especially, stop commingling your funds. Like a lot of, especially if you're starting out, we don't go run and get a business bank account. We try to still use our personal account to buy our business expenses. So one thing I would suggest is making sure that you have a business account just for your business. The next thing is a lot of people can't afford accounting, right? Especially if you're just starting out. I recommend that you do have a bookkeeper if you can't afford one. But if you can't afford one, at least get QuickBooks and have QuickBooks or some type of accounting software to track your spending in your business bank account. So at the end of the day, if you can't do anything else, you can run a report for your profit and loss.
Run those reports, know what a P&L is. Profit and loss, so you know what you're doing in your business. And I love that. Like no commingling your funds.
Yes.
Having those separate bank accounts.
Yes.
So I am going to be celebrating 2024, 10 years in business. And you said you've been in business for 17 years. We need the cheat code. What inspired you to start your business, and what has kept you in business for 17 years? You're almost going into decade number 2. So what inspired you to start your business?
Initially, what started me, I kind of got into the business world by a mishap. I used to work at a factory when I first got out of high school, and I worked at that factory for like 8.5 years. I only ended up getting into taxes because that's my first business. I only got into taxes because we were short on hours. Every year at the beginning of the year, we'll go to 32 hours, and I needed to supplement my income. So I went and thought I was giving me a part-time job as a tax pro, because I kind of always loved the ideal of taxes. But once I got in it, God started showing me this is my path. And I ended up flowing into entrepreneurship after 2 years working under someone else. And I've been there ever since, not working for anybody else, just being an entrepreneur. But ultimately, when I got in it, I realized that, of course, there was a lot of money can be made in it. And then I started to think about legacy. I started to think about making sure that my family is taken care of, that the kids, because I don't have kids, but the kids of my family, that when they grow up, they understand they can realize their dream no matter what. So it ultimately became my mission to make a better life for my family.
I love it. And what has kept you from year 1 to year 17? Because it's not easy.
Right. So just when we are 100% transparent, it was God's grace. Ultimately, because as you know, as an entrepreneur, you have so many ups and downs, so many bumps in the road when you're trying to continue to push yourself every year being in the business. But my why is God. So ultimately, when I wake up every morning, when I'm over it, like I'm so over doing business with people, I remember that I'm doing it for God. So it's not about me. It's bigger than me, right? I said at the beginning of the interview, my mission is about, my brand value is to inspire, to serve, and educate. So ultimately, for me, it's me waking up every morning doing God's assignment for my life. That's often what my will and the thing that wakes me up every morning. So I've been able to stay in business this long because I know it's definitely bigger than me. And how I've been able to sustain business by faith.
I think that's so powerful because even for me, almost 10 years ago, this was a God walk.
Okay.
I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I was happy being an educator. I was living overseas, living my best single young life. And then, God said, you got to do something different.
Right.
And I wasn't trying to hear it. So I definitely applauded taking that God walk. And if you are watching this and entrepreneurship is your leap of faith or the next thing that you need to do, you hear a calling, we're going to say, answer the call,
right,
and do the work that needs to be done. So part of your life's mission is philanthropy and helping other people. So tell us a little bit more about that. Why is that so important to you?
So in my whole story, my whole journey, again, I always go back to God. So one of my businesses that I have is a nonprofit organization called Reach for Your Dreams, Inc. that I am a co-founder with my best friend and my sister. Ultimately, when I started in business, I've been very blessed financially in business. Like I'm broke too, but I've been very financially to sustain my business. And one thing I've always knew is that if God blessed me, that I have to bless others. So for me, I feel like if I'm not doing that, would God have the grace and the mercy on me to continue to allow me to walk in his assignment? So it's very important for me to serve, not only financially, but also with my knowledge. Like he is the person that downloads so much into me. And so ultimately, I can't gatekeep that. I got to make sure that I'm giving the resources, the tools, the knowledge, and everything that he's sold into me back to his people.
So tell me about what was the inspiration for the nonprofit organization that you and your family started?
Okay, so a month or so ago, we do a annual event, Christmas toy giveaway, where we give away 1,000 toys and feed 1,000 families for the holidays in 2 different cities. I stay in my hometown, Columbus, Georgia. I have a tax office there, and then I stay in the Atlanta area, the outskirts of Atlanta. I have a home here, and I started giving back through my for-profit business, Expert Tax Service, and started doing giveaways back to school. And then a couple of years in, it was about, okay, I don't want my giving to be about me making money. I don't even want that to be attached to my for-profit business. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that as a for-profit business that you're still supposed to serve. Those are things that you should have really in your marketing plan, right? But because I knew the giveaway was about what God wanted me to do, I didn't want it to be attached to a for-profit business. I felt like it needed to be under some type of charity type of organization. And that's where the nonprofit came from. Now, ultimately, our nonprofit mission is really to teach individuals to reach for their dreams by teaching them life skills, entrepreneur skills, or education, and again, servicing, community service. And so we, as collectively as a family and my best friend, I consider them family as well. I never had mentors growing up. I just started getting mentors in the last 3-4 years. And so ultimately, we wanted to create an environment where people understood that you literally can reach for your dreams. And we wanted to be able to provide some of that education and the stuff that you need to do that through our nonprofit.
I love it. So you just mentioned that you just recently started investing or getting mentors. Tell me a little bit more about that. So I know you said there was a lot of time in your business life and in your life you didn't have them to now having mentors. How valuable have mentors and mentorship been to you?
I think it's everything, right? Because ultimately, a lot of times as business owners, we're not accountable to anybody but our clients, right? And we don't have anybody to correct us. We don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. And a lot of times when you're trying to do it on your own, you end up getting stuck and you don't know how to get over that hurdle unless you're around people that can help you and assist you in that area. And so for me, I'm very knowledgeable in business. I've been in business again for 17 years. I've been in multiple industries. I think God did that for a reason. So I'm very knowledgeable in business, but having a mentor and having coaches, what that does is it broadens my mindset. It allows me to feel comfortable and connect with other people that I need in my life to keep me pushing, to keep going. I think the problem with people and why people don't get coaches and mentors is because they think magically they're supposed to fix their problems in their business. And that's not what it is. It's the same thing as when you're going to get therapy. Like, the therapist can't fix you. You have to fix yourself. And you fix yourself through accountability. And I think with a coach, they make you realize things that you already have inside of you that you can do, but they allow you to understand that you can push forward even more, plus provide resources and tools that you might not be aware of.
I love it. So you've talked about these different industries. How did you transition from just a tax business to you have a nonprofit organization? How did these other businesses get into play? Because we have some mutual mentors and they be like, keep the main thing, the main thing. So how did you expand? Because there's so many people, even myself, we're multi-passionate, we're multifaceted. How did you transition into being a serial entrepreneur and make it work and make it profitable too?
So let me say, it's God, right? And for me, I know, like, in the business world, I don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, if you're looking at how you are supposed to run a business and, you know, you being able to focus on certain things so that you can get to a certain level, I would agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you are focusing on one thing and putting your energy in that one thing, it's going to blossom because you're consistently working in it. But for me, that's not my calling. Right? So even though I listen to mentors and coaches and people that really know that, I'm not led by the world. I'm led by God. So because I'm not led by the world, I take a lot of that information and I soak it in, but then I also have to consult back with God to make sure that I'm going in the direction that I'm supposed to go in. And so for me, I could just give you a background of how I got in the different type of industries. So again, I worked at a factory for 8 years. I opened my tax business 17 years ago. A week from me getting the keys to the office for my tax business, I passed my real estate test. Right? And I became a realtor. So I've been a realtor for 17 years as well. I don't actually practice it as much because of the other businesses, but I hold a license. I just had a closing last month, so I get it in when I can, right? Then everything else was in alignment of the things that God wanted me to see and experience and work through. And I ultimately believe he did that so that I'm able to touch a mass of people in different ways. A lot of times when you are in one industry, you can only focus on that one industry. You can only teach that one industry. For me, he made my brands different. And so I'm able to communicate with people in different ways. So just with the real estate and the taxes, I can help my tax clients get a home, not just by being a real estate agent, but especially small business owners. I know all the steps that you need to go to get a home, right? And so I make it easier for them because not only do I know that based off the fact that I'm a tax preparer and I'm a realtor, but I'm also an entrepreneur that's going to have to do the same things you do. So I'm going to have a different type of conversation with my clients than the average person would have. Then you have Reach for Your Dreams. Reach for Your Dreams, again, is a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit about teaching people how to reach for their dreams. It still goes back to God. And then we have the media company. So I have my own streaming channel where my channel streams through Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire Stick. And the show that started was Gwen's Business Corner with Deontay B, which I have with my best friend of 30-some years. And so with that, our mission for GBC is the same for Reach for Your Dreams, but it's just on the media platform so that we can touch the masses with entertainment, so we can touch a different population. And so everything that I do, it really ultimately, even though they're different industries, they all tie together because it goes back to my brand values, which is to inspire, educate, and serve. I'm just doing it in different ways.
So I definitely was going to bring up this media company, and it's a perfect segue to like the inspiration to say, oh, I'm just going to have a media company and just jump out and do it and then have distribution. Where did this idea come from? What was like you? So one thing I'm noticing is you just go after it. Is the vision is there and you just go execute. So that's a powerful piece of this. But where did this media? It's like kind of like a curveball. I got the taxes. I got real estate. That makes a sense. Boom. Now we got a media company. So where did this piece come into play? And where do you see the future of your media company going?
So short story, I hate TV. I hate doing interviews. I hate being a face of a brand. I never wanted to do that. So my best friend, that's been my best friend for 30 years. She's been in every single business with me. She runs my tax office in Atlanta while I run it in Columbus. She's the co-founder of my nonprofit. I have a boutique now, but we used to have a boutique. We was partners in. We have a testing center together. And she sacrificed for me, right? When I needed somebody to be there with me when God gave me my visions. But her dream was entertainment. She had did entertainment her whole life. She was a model. She was an actress. She did plays. So she loved entertainment. And one of her dreams was always for us to be on a reality TV show, which I never wanted to do. So her dream was always for us to be on a reality TV show and for her to have a talk show. Ultimately, she always wanted us to do things together. And I remember going through a fast, literally going through a fast. And I was at a block in my career. And after I went through that fast, I woke up that morning and someone called me and it was like, I used to always joke, like, we'll get a TV show one day. But I really didn't want to do it, but I used to always say it. And somebody said, we got a spot on Fox and I want to know if you really want a TV show. And I knew it was God because I had just fast for my answer. Ultimately, when we got in it, I thought God was using me to bless my best friend with her dream for her sacrifice that she had made to me. But it was bigger than it, right? Because it was her dream, not just her dream to be on TV, but her dream to be on TV with her best friend. And we didn't ever plan to do a streaming channel. We was on a local channel in our hometown, which was Fox 54. And then the streaming channel God just dropped it in my lap to say, okay, I don't just want you to have a talk show. I want you to have a streaming channel. And I don't know, like when we started ours is like in 2017. So nobody was doing it. Everybody doing it now. Nobody was doing it. And there still really ain't a whole lot of mentors to even teach you about it. So a lot of people do podcasts, but it ain't a whole lot of people that have actual streaming channel. And we've been sitting on the streaming channel for like 3-4 years now. So ultimately I kind of always want to let it go, but God won't let me. And I understand it because we're in a climax of, as entrepreneurs, you got to have media. And I know God always have me in the forefront of what's going to happen next. And so with the media company, we eventually will add more shows and make availability for other talk shows, reality shows, documentaries, and different things like that. And ultimately, it'll tie back into what I've said from the beginning. Is going to be there to educate and inspire and educate. And we're going to serve through media as well.
This is powerful because, again, I didn't even want to have a podcast. Our space was sponsored by the CEO of Vonza, a course platform. And I want to segue into this education piece in a second. But media, creating your own media, because a lot of times we didn't see people growing up that look like us.
Right.
And now I love how you and your best friend have created media and opportunities for other people. So I'm just taking it in. I'm learning as we go too, the power of what we're doing. Sometimes we don't see it in the moment. Like, did you realize some of the things that you were doing were going to be so significant? Or you were just like, I'm doing it?
No, I do a lot of stuff. It's my obedience to God. Literally, because a lot of this stuff I don't want to do. I mean, I'm just being 100 with you. Like, there's a lot of this stuff I don't want to do, and I don't understand why I have to do it. But it's the obedience, because, we can make our own plans, but God's plan is always greater. And unfortunately, again, one thing I know is about us having the media platform is that it opens up more conversations with people. So I feel like God just kind of used that to position us to build bigger relationships, you know, for people to get to know our personalities, because, you know, in a business, you got to build an audience. And so, you know, for us to talk to our audience and for us to have that control. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's why you just didn't let us go on YouTube like everybody else? Because it's expensive to be on that streaming channel. So, like, why you just didn't let us go to YouTube? But God said, no, I want you to have control. So it's that thing, like, you know, you just got to be obedient.
Goodness gracious, a lesson in obedience. I got some more work to do. We all got some more work to do. One of the things that I know you have been working on, because you talked about one of your pillars is education. And now you're also working with tax pros to educate them on the tax business. Yes. And, you know, on this side of the internet, we help people teach what they know, create digital products, coaching programs. So I'm really interested in how you're transitioning into an educator, because you talked about not having the support or people who knew how to do these things, and now you're teaching them. So tell me a little bit more about how you're supporting fellow tax pros in growing and building their businesses as well.
So yes, I'm excited about it. I've been running from it from years. Okay, like I literally been running from it for years. God got me the vision to do it back in 2016. What we in 2024? So I've been running from it for a long time. I educate and coach and mentor. I've been doing that since the beginning of my career, but not in a structured, organized way, right? And I never knew like what direction I really wanted to go in, because when he told me to do tax pros, I was trying to get out the tax industry. I wasn't trying to stay in it. So I was like, well, why is you telling me this? Okay. So I thought, well, maybe I just do small business owners, but I'm recently just going into the coaching program that, you know, we're in together. I realized, okay, God brought it back to me that no, you're supposed to be doing tax pros, but not just tax pros, women tax pros. Because what you're going to do is take everything I've taught you, not only in the tax business, but in the business period. You're going to take all your faith walks, all your testimonies, all the trials and tribulations that you have went through, and you're going to go lift women up through tax preparation. And you're not going to only do that, you're going to scale them just like I scaled you to make 6 figures and beyond. So I'm just excited about the future to see like what that's really gonna look like. I've already started. I have my mastermind. I do frequently webinars with tax pros, and it's doing pretty well. And I could just see God all in it.
I love it. Just going with that vision of saying it. And this story is so common. Like the vision God gives you, you be like, nah, I don't want to do that. God, get somebody else to do it, not me. And then still being obedient and listening to it anyway and watching it flourish. So go and it kind of grew really quickly. Like you guys put it out there and people were ready. So what is next for you?
So for me, it's just really about 2024 is going to be my selfish year. All right. I'm going to still serve. I'm going to still educate. I'm going to still try to inspire. But 17 years, I'll be 18 years this year in business. I was 2 decades in the industry, in the tax industry, because I've been in the industry 19 years. I've lived for my family. I don't live for my friends. I've lived for everybody but me. And so I feel like now is the time for me to serve me. I'm going to still run the business. I'm going to still thrive to be the best businesswoman I'm supposed to be. But if it's not for me, then I'm not doing it.
And what does that look like? We want some details so we could take some notes. Your selfish year, what does that look like?
That's more no's. You know what I'm saying? I don't say no enough, right? I don't say no enough. It's more of, a lot of times people don't even ask me to do things. I do it because I care. I do it because I want to make sure everybody's straight. So it's about me pulling back and not looking at everybody's life when they dump it on me and think I'm supposed to be the person that have to solve everybody's problems. It's about taking more time for myself. Like I vacation a lot. But when we vacation, we're always thinking about business. And so it's about going to vacation, make memories. It's about spending more time with God, doing more reading. So it's just a lot of different things. But it's going to be 2024. It's going to be about me.
I love it. So tell the audience why your brand's a big deal.
My brand's a big deal because my brand is bigger than me. My brand is about servicing other people, taking other people to the next level in their careers, in their personal lives. And just because when you're dealing with any of my brands, you're going to elevate yourself. So I just think my brand's a big deal because God did it.
God did it. If there's one thing you want to leave us with, what's that last golden nugget you want to leave our audience with today?
Faith without work is dead, right? We can sit here all the time and you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to different people that inspire you, and you can say, oh, okay, I want to be like them, or I wish my life was like them. But your life can be anything you want it to be, but you got to have faith. But you can't just have faith. You got to put the work behind it. And that means that you got to be consistent. That means that you have to be willing to sacrifice. And you got to be able to give it your all to whatever you want. You are the writer of your own book. So what do you want that book to represent?
You got to stay committed. How can we stay connected to you?
So definitely follow me on all social media outlets at Gwennetta Wright. And my brand, I love Expert Tax Service. I love all of them, but I love Expert Tax Service. So definitely follow me on all platforms at Expert Tax Service, and that's spelled with the X and not an E.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gents, thank you for being here. Listen, operate in faith, take that leap, do what you got to do. And we will be back for another episode of Girl, Your Brand's a Big Deal podcast. Thank you so much, beautiful people. And we'll see you in the next episode.